So casually keep diving into concrete. So bittersweet. Huh? Keep losing sleep while driving in the backseat. What's left of me? Drowning in what feels just like an ocean. Negativity is getting closer. Hard to keep the heat when it gets colder. You know, sometimes everything just gets hard. Sometimes everything just gets harder. Feeling like I'm missing some parts. Days just keep on getting much darker. Even when I'm down in the low, I remember what you were saying. Sometimes all you need is a spark. Maybe just a better kind of bitter. Lose gravity, I'm swimming in the quicksand. Up to my knees. Keep losing sleep, I'm manic dream at midnight. So hard to please. Drowning in what feels just like an ocean. Negativity is getting closer. Hard to keep the heat when it gets colder. You know, sometimes everything just gets hard. Sometimes everything just gets harder. Feeling like I'm missing some parts. Days just keep on getting much darker. Even when I'm down in the low, I remember what you were saying. Sometimes all you need is a spark. Maybe just a better kind of bitter. Think about the stuff we play. How I'd rather do that instead. I keep screaming out loud from the top of my lungs, baby. Ooh, think about the stuff we play. How I'd rather do that instead. I keep screaming out loud from the top of my lungs, baby. Ooh, think about the stuff we play. How I'd rather do that instead. I keep screaming out loud from the top of my lungs, baby. Ooh, think about the stuff we play. How I'd rather do that instead. I keep screaming out loud from the top of my lungs, baby.
Yes. Aloha, folks. Welcome to the show. This weekend live from your Let's Get Live crew. I am that dude, Doc Rock, your content creation coach, as Miss D likes to tease me about my Doc Rock freaking weekend tips. Speaking of Miss D, hello, Diana.
Hello, good people of the interwebs. Good to see you. How you doing, brother?
Very good. I was just thinking some crazy stuff, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to get slapped today. Mr. David, what's happening? Hey, he muted again. Digital Buddha is muted. No. Uh-oh. It did it to us again. We was just talking. We were just talking in a regular thing, and then somehow when we go live, David gets muted. Like, that is a really weird
All
situation.
you see is all of this.
So, David, I have no idea why it did that to you 2 weeks in a row. So I'm gonna have you do is call right back in, and you should be good to go. That is such a weird thing. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is today we're going to run down some of the absolute craziness that just happened with the Apple event. It is all of that and a bag of chips. Let's see, did it work this time? Okay, so I assigned David to guest one, and then it says guest is in the green room, and then it still shows guest as muted. Like, what in the exact heck happens to David when every time? This is 2 times in a row. All right, David, try now. Say something. He's typing.
Maybe
No.
his cable got knocked or something.
Yeah, maybe your cable got knocked or something, because it says that you're there, and it says that guest is in the green room. It's crazy. You know what? Let me try something. Let me do something weird. Does that work? Nope, that doesn't work. I thought, let me just assign him to a different people and see if that happens. That is the oddest thing. It happened 2 weeks in a row. So
It could
anyway,
just be his. You know what? That's a good, just a teachable moment for everybody. Is that if something happens like that midstream, because all of what we're teaching you is live streaming stuff. Stuff does happen. Occasionally, you might need to replace your cable. So we all use the Rodecaster Pro here at Let's Get Live, and what I did was usually it's the USB Type A to USB-C cable that's included. I've not honestly had the best success with those, so I took a stronger and better data capable. Even though it's like audio doesn't take much, there he is. It's like even though audio doesn't take much though, I just did a USB-C to USB cable and just replaced the cable. So I've stopped having that issue with the Rodecaster Pro. Kind of, so if it helps, if you use the Rodecaster Pro, consider changing cables to something better.
it happens.
This is also because I do this too, and I don't know why Ecamm does this, but good morning, everybody. Glad to be in the stream. This happens to me and I found this out with Ecamm. I can have people in the green room, have everybody ready to go, assign them to a guest, and then when I click go live, sometimes, not all the times, I have to hit, and when I see the mute button on them, I have to hit add to the right, add to the left, basically add them to the show. And
Even
then
though
the
assigned
microphone's
already?
unmuted,
Yeah,
even though I've been assigned already.
I get it. That makes sense, and that makes sense. And then the funny thing about it is, because we had an entire conversation in the pre-show, we set stuff up, we were having a good time, cracking jokes, and then you press live, and it must unassign you. So I will make a note of it. I will send it to the technical team. The boys are on vacation. I'm not bothering them. They need a break.
Yeah, it's happened to me before. So
all right, that's good to know. Not everybody knows. Cool. So anyway, what we're going to do today is talk about what's popping in that craziness of the Apple event. And they brought even more heat today. We didn't download the video, but I want you to go watch it yourself. Go to apple.com and look at their carbon neutral by 2030 plan. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, they're already doing firework as it stands, but man. Yeah.
I am blown away. I mean, like, in a good way. Like, on some real stuff, though. It's like, usually, it's like announcements. Sometimes announcements for, like, any company, it can seem like, oh, it's going to be this great big thing. And it's kind of like, it kind of falls flat. But they really hit a home run. And it's like to kick off really kind of like the second quarter of the year and have all of this coming tomorrow, where it's very exciting. And everything was dope. Everything was dope. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed.
You're stealing all of my words, Diana.
I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry.
It is definitely one
awesome.
of those things where they just came correct. I mean, they talk about Rex in effect. They came absolutely correct. Now, here's the part that's interesting to me. It's one thing to prepare yourself to bring dope content. It's another thing to have to fight now the cultural climate of leakers wanting to leak, right? That drives me crazy. I tell anybody who has ever seen me on one of the actual tech talk shows like Twitter, whatever, I always say the thing that makes me mad is I loved Apple back in the day when you knew the announcement was coming, you didn't know what it was, you sat there and you waited, and then, Steve or Tim, whoever would come out and bring hits after hits after hits after hit, and the hits just keep coming, and it was like Christmas. Now, because of the leaker community, everybody wants to tell you what's popping. Even in the Sony camp, like everybody wants to tell you what's coming. Or Canon's dropping the new. I mean, there's Sony rumors, there's Alpha rumors, there's Canon rumors, there's Panasonic, Fuji rumors.
Thirds,
And I'm like, bruh, like, let me get the surprise, fam. When your dad say, hey, we're going to go on a little road trip. All right, Dad, let's go. Where are we going? Never mind. Where we going? Never mind. You're just thinking. I'm guessing.
Never
I'm
mind.
guessing. Shut up, boy. And then we show up. Baskin and Robbins. Oh, Baskin and Robbins. We get some ice cream. I was excited. If my dad just came out and said, hey, we're going to get ice cream, I'd be like, yay, I'm excited. But it might die. It dies a little bit, right? that tension, that's storytelling, right? That's part of what we teach you in live streaming, that tension, that not knowing what's coming, that's building up the, whatever the arc, the story is, man against man, man against, the world, whatever your story arc picks, that tension makes it dope, right? The cliffhanger at the end of the show makes it dope. Stop telling me what Apple finna do. I don't care.
That's because we live in an instant gratification society now. Everybody wants to try to know it now.
Well, that too, and I believe the other half of it is people are making mint off of everybody else.
They are
not wanting to know. So anyway, the point being is they still brought stuff. Like even with everybody thinking they knew everything, you
still don't know everything.
They started off. They go, "Hey Doc, what up? Check this out. What purple iPhone? Oh, hey girl, hey." I lost the mind still. Like all the cells was just leaking out. It's not a Max though, so I ain't getting it. But oh my God. Anyway, let's dive in. Let's talk about AirTags, fam. Oh, goodness.
Traveling is becoming an interesting thing. So I think out of the three of us, I was the last one to. Well, David, you haven't been on a plane. David's traveled and been traveling ever since he got that brand new
Miracle
David
Whip.
Blackman. Yeah, Miracle Whip. Dave, first of all, rabbit trail for 30 seconds.
I did fly.
What kind of travel? Okay, so you flew. We're gonna talk about the flying, but how did you get there initially? What did you? How you get? No, it was how you came back. What did you come back in, David? What did you come back in?
I came back in my dream car. So when you hit 50, Doc knows this. Life's short. You realize, holy moly. And I decided, made a life is short decision, and I bought my dream car, my car that I've always wanted my whole life. I flew up to Portland, and I drove it back, and it's a Range Rover HSE. So, I've been driving that thing every day.
Basically stands
Big
for
smile on my face. Big smile on my face driving around.
It's a dope car. It's like we've seen it on like our messenger videos and stuff. It's a dope car. But we'll have to talk about that. We'll have to talk about that because it's an amazing truck. So kudos and congrats to you, David. But it's
no
like
midlife crisis, Eric.
No midlife crisis.
This is not a Porsche or a Vet. Yeah, this is no midlife. This is like ultimate life.
So when you travel, I noticed from here, now St. Louis is not the number one travel destination in the world. Like people are not scheduling their 2-week vacations.
What
to
is
come
the number one
St.
travel
Louis
destination in the world?
St. Louis.
Could it
St.
be
Louis.
Hawaii?
No.
Could it be Hawaii?
Whatever. It's whatever. So anyway, it's not the number one travel. St. Louis is not. But the idea is that the fact that when I was getting ready to travel out of here, the airport was packed like it was pre-COVID times, around the holiday pre-COVID times, like super packed. And that was one of those times where I walked in and it literally stopped me in my tracks, literally, because I'm looking like, what the hell? Even like TSA pre-check, that's supposed to be like kind of like a speed pass kind of a deal. Even with that was like, well, shoot, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, so we're fine here. We're fine. However, AirTags, the reason why I'm bringing that up is like, so traveling, David, was it busy when you traveled to the airport?
It was busy. Yeah.
And you don't live in like a major, you don't live like in a super major.
I live in an old school. It's an international airport. Medford has an international airport, but how many international airports do you know that don't have terminals that you walk down and get on the plane? You got to go outside and climb up the stairs. So it's tiny T90. Yeah. And it's not traveled a lot. Yeah.
So from small scale or just a non, shouldn't be a super packed place like it was, not for the time frame it was. The airports were busy. And so when it comes to stuff like that, you're moving fast, you're not thinking anything about it. So Apple AirTags and integrating that with the Apple Watch and your iPhone and your computer and everything else or whatever, you now have that same trackability that you would for and it's super small. Like we got some footage to show you guys what that Apple AirTag actually looks like. Cause it's about like a keychain. That's kind of like,
I will use it as a keychain because keys are one of the things.
So I'm gonna play the footage real quick.
Shipped.
It will take me about 2 seconds to unmute as soon as we drop it. So here we go. Let's do that. All right, now we unmuted. This is
Yeah,
dope.
so this
All right.
footage is coming in from MKBHD showing like how it works for you to get to. And I love the little, it's the simple stuff, honestly. Not like, oh, you're 7 feet away, but like actually like, no, turn this way, like a literal GPS to say exactly where you are or where it should be, kind of a deal. That's so dope.
Yeah.
That's so dope.
It's super. It's funny. It's funny. Like, you know, I like the fact that, you know, he went and got his tabs. Now, one of the things everybody's going to complain about, well, the Apple cases are $20. Dude, the third-party cases already dropped, and you can get them as low as like $13. But know this for sure, that all of the like Chinese leather versions and the stuff like silicone, just, you know, regular silicone case that'll be like $2-3, those is all coming too. So you don't have to go and buy a $450 Hermes. Trust you me, I kind of want one though, because I like Hermes. I got Hermes belt, you know, a couple other Hermes things. So, you know, I'm bougie like that. But yeah, this is dope. How you can walk and it finds your thing. Now, one of the key elements of this, I think, right, for us as a content creator, our job is to position this towards creators, people in live streaming, things like that. Taking one of these guys and attaching it to my Pelican 1510, June, like, you would definitely. I just want to bring up this real quick, the mindset before you start. Everybody starts getting into their freakish mindset about, you know, everybody's going to know what a tag is, so then people are just going to steal the tags or whatever. People going to steal. And your stuff is gone if it's stolen.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
in the airport, when they just take all your mess off the conveyor belt and just stack it, and in your case is mixed in with the other 18 Pelican cases, because we went to social media marketing world, and everybody that's showing up is showing up with Pelican 1510s, which is why I try to get the origins.
Even like y'all have the, what do you call those bags?
Peak Design?
Peak Design. Yeah,
We
everybody
all
had the
got
same
Peak
bag.
Design.
Kind of,
You know what I'm saying, right?
Exactly.
Or that Costco joint, right? So, it might, you know what, Eric, I'm gonna just leave you alone. June said he heard that. I don't want to hear anything about too expensive. If it's too expensive for you, then don't buy it. But don't harsh anybody else's mailing because they want to buy it, right? Because first of all, tiles are like $8 cheaper. You can't replace the battery. So your expensive argument is out the window. That's just
You know what?
stupid
To be
thinking.
honest
I don't
with
even
you,
get that.
that's a 2 for $20 at Applebee's with a tip and whatever dessert kind of a thing.
See,
To
I don't
be
even
honest,
go
you know what I'm
to
saying? Like we
Applebee's.
throw. Well, I'm just saying, like, well, okay, I can tell you because
We
my
don't
friend,
have.
like when she was pregnant, she wanted like certain foods like anybody going through pregnancy has. So I would make sure if I'm going over there, I take food. It helps to calm the pregnant people. Okay, bring them food.
Yeah.
So I'd give you the 2 for $20 for Applebee's with a dessert or whatever. Ask her what she want to eat and whatever else. So it's like, but that's honestly, when it's all said and done, $20, $30, well, more than $20, obviously. But
it's $25
you know,
a piece if you buy the 4 kit. And again,
Well,
tile is not that
exactly.
much cheaper, and tile can't
Exactly.
replace the battery. This guy runs off of
Exactly.
standard 2023 batteries, 2032 batteries. You can replace it. But here's the thing that I wanted to mention. It does something that tile does not do. Because it works off the Find My network, there are over 1 billion iPhones out there. And if someone finds your bag and they're an Android person, they can NFC the tag and it will show your name and phone number so that they can call you and be like, hey, we found your thing. You're like, cool. Now, again, if someone's going to steal it, it's gone. That has nothing to do with tags. That's not what tags is for. Tags is for when you leave something behind or it gets misplaced in a place where, no one's trying to actively steal your stuff. If someone's going to actively steal your stuff, it wouldn't matter if you had the pit bull tied to it. It's still gone. You can disagree as much as you want because, well, I don't care. The point is,
No. This is what you say to that. You're welcome to disagree, but you're also welcome to be wrong. So you can disagree and you can be wrong.
I
So,
think the way
because
I'm
it's
gonna,
a value.
I'm
See,
gonna
the problem
use,
with the problem with the expensive comment is it's a value proposition, right? I mean, depending on where you are and what you do and what your stuff is worth to you, right? There's people
Yeah,
who will
true.
say that, and again, will roll out again. Like I said, I got Hermes things, so it's a piece of leather. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a piece of
I
leather,
think for
but that
me,
H is
on
dope.
on the air tags, especially when it comes to the value of the equipment that you're tracking, cameras, whatever it is that you're traveling with could be $10,000 and you're not going to spend $30
yeah.
to track it. It's kind
That's
of
the
crazy.
point.
Yeah.
But
'Cause-
here's how I'm going to use it. Obviously, a keychain, Doc's right. People's going to steal, they're going to steal.
Yeah.
But on the suitcases and the Pelican case and all that stuff that goes through airports and whatnot, I ain't attaching it to the handle. I am going to
it's
put
gonna
it
go
somewhere
in my bag.
discreetly inside my.
No, but here's
Yeah.
the reason
Hopefully
why
nobody finds
But here's
it,
why you don't want to do that. And this is what I was trying to
Okay.
say a minute ago. Yes, you put it in the
Hit
bag,
me.
it will work, right? But
Right.
if it's not outside where someone can see it, they don't know that they can scan it and find you. See, if an Apple
Oh,
person,
yeah, true.
if it's hanging, if it's dongling, right? And an Apple person or an Android person sees it, they just go like that. It gives, I can give the bag back to the person. So
Gotcha.
I can tell you right now, on one of my bags, I have a Louis
Means two,
Vuitton.
David.
old school business cards. That's what we
No,
used to do.
I have the Louis
little-
Vuitton thing hanging on my bag.
Yeah.
Right? No one steals it. That Louis Vuitton
You're right.
luggage tag is $100, but no one's ever stole it. So
You're
peop-
right.
the amount of people that steal, they're going to steal. But trying to stop your life because somebody might steal it, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
That's like, 'cause
And
that will
to-
make sure you never buy anything of worth because you're always worried
'Cause
about
you're always
what
worried,
somebody
right?
else will do.
Somebody gonna steal
But
your
it's like
kid.
Even so here's the other example to that. Again, you look at $30 or you can get 4 for $99 US on the AirTags. Okay, there was a lady that was a photographer. She had over $40,000 in a backpack that she wanted to carry as a carry-on. They told her, some dingle dork told her that, like, oh, you can't, you need to check that bag. And she was like, no, this is my work equipment and I'm bringing it on with me. And whoever she was talking to, she just decided to concede the going back and forth. And I'm sure, potentially missing your flight or boarding was a factor to that. She decided to check it underneath. Okay, this $40,000 now disappears because it didn't come back from going underneath, which is not uncommon when you put expensive, not an AirTag expensive. I'm saying like really legit, not even expensive, bad. You put $40,000 worth of camera equipment, lenses, and honestly, a lot of that is the lenses, not necessarily the camera bodies, but a lot of lens stuff like that do not lose its resale value. She didn't get that bag back. Thankfully, she was insured, so she was able to get reimbursed through her insurance. But it's just the idea. So again, like you got $40,000 worth of equipment, a $30 tag, or cheaper than that when you get a pack of for $99, for 90. No, I'm not thinking about that. I'm gonna get 2 sets of the $99 joints.
Thank you.
just
I already
to make
got
sure
him
I
in
can
my
put it on.
red to go because dude, my
Right.
Peak Design bag is 300 bones by itself with nothing in it. My
Yeah.
Patagonia bag right here behind me on the floor is $300 by itself with nothing in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm about to think about this new Peter McKinnon bag, which is going to be close to $300 with nothing in it by itself. That new Peter
don't know
McKinnon
about
bag is fire.
I ain't looked at it. I'm trying not to.
I got too
But
many
anyway.
bags already. Hey,
Yeah.
Doc, do
Yeah,
me a
David,
favor.
you don't watch
Yes, sir.
neither. You don't watch neither.
This is unscheduled, but I have someone ringing my doorbell. Do a 2-up with you and Diana real quick. Let me see who this is.
David will be right back.
I don't
after
Is it
ever
a
get
pizza?
door people. So,
David,
He got a mod pizza.
chicken pot pie,
exactly.
bro. Chicken pot pie.
Okay, so outside of the tags being dope, I just think it's a very valuable thing to have. And again, buy tiles, buy Tracker Bravos. Tracker Bravos are $12 a piece. But
Yeah.
the people that you will be tracking with have to have the Tracker Bravo app. So you got a billion chances. We're going to bring that down to like 250,000. Knock yourself out with the cheap. I'll spend extra knowing that Apple people can find it automatically. Android people can actively scan it if they find it. And yeah, that's it.
I think it'll become such a thing that's so normal. It's like you're not thinking about like taking it. And even if you lost one, it's like whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I'd be more upset if I lost a memory card than an AirTag, to be honest with you.
Same here. Well,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
again, this is their first run. There will be
Right,
people
true.
out there, and hopefully they will open it up to other makers. And if they open it up to other
Mm-hmm.
makers, then other people can make the cheap stuff all they want to.
Yeah.
This is a device that Apple made it as cheap as they possibly could and still make it good. right?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
waterproof, is IP67, right? It's interchangeable battery, which none of the other trackers really have right now. Oh, Tracker Bravo does. And then somebody said, well, why'd they put a hole in it so I don't have to buy a case or anything like that? Because the hole would mess up the waterproofness, bro. Or it would be easy to break. Anywhere you put a hole, you break the integrity, so now you make it easier to break. So
Yeah, it's a failure point.
it's a failure point, right? But I mean, again, if it doesn't match your value proposition, by all means, don't buy it. But don't be that douche that's running around telling everybody things are expensive. Because I tell you right now, we have Fujinon lenses that cost more than everything in your entire camera bag. Right? Just saying. Like this space is way too many people watching other people's wallet about dumb stuff, and then they'll go out and buy, I don't know, a $50 Cabernet, which will be done with in 30 minutes, depending on how you drink. So
Depending on how you drink. But they also announced other stuff that
we
like,
getting
again,
into.
in that Apple ecosystem. So they came out with and I think this is probably for me one of
which
the most
one you want
exciting
to do
things.
first? Yeah, because I'm jazzed
gonna
on
say,
all of
let's
this.
let's go to the iMac and the iPhone. Let's go to the iMac and the iPhone. Hold on. We're going to talk about the iPad Pro. Let's go to the iMac and iPhone because I don't think it's as much excitement around those just yet.
Let's
but it's
do
like,
iPhone
so,
first just to get it over with. And again, once I press play on this movie, it's going to take 2 seconds to unmute us. There we go. Like, this is an iPhone 12. And it didn't really do anything other than add another color. But that's a lot to me because, you know, I'm Team Purple.
All right, I'm
So
back.
David is Team Purple. So, yeah.
Team Purple.
I think the concept of this purple phone is just legit.
yeah.
You know, Apple just does crazy things, you know, and yeah, this not a real big one, but to me, it's dope.
I mean, it's kind of like, it's if you like it and you rock with it, then it's like cool, especially if you were going to buy one and now all of a sudden, like the color that you want is available, then it's like dope, you know, and I like that they's like, here's a spring announcement. I just, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, that's nice. We appreciate it. You know, nothing spectacular per se, but it's like, you appreciate it. It's like, thanks for dropping another one. We appreciate
I got to
it.
tell you, I'm not used to even paying attention to the spring announcement. I'm used to paying attention to the fall announcement. This spring announcement just kind of blew my mind. Makes me gonna watch spring announcements from now on. Damn it!
Yeah.
All it done did.
Rob is out here, man. I ain't listening to Rob. Okay, so let's get that iMac. We're gonna save that iPad for last because Kevin want to hear that. So now, Kevin, you got to sit here the whole way through. All right, let me play this iMac video real quick. All right, so bruh, this thing.
Yeah, it looks sick. This is
It's
sick.
sick. This
And
is
it's
super
thin.
sick.
I think that's my biggest thing that I like about it is like like size and weight matters because that all for some people, like again, portability. I'm glad they showed that kind of a clip because again, portability matters and how you able to use it. And some people would want a super slim setup, but it's like, dag, is it too much weight for the desk? Is it too much to carry around if you needed to, you know, swap offices or whatever the case is? I think this it just increases like the portability. I can see people coming out with specific kind of like almost even travel cases, you know, for this kind of a thing. So if you want to grab it and go, not that it's going to be like a iPad, but
Okay, this
you know
this
what I'm
is
saying?
my
It's a
key
little
right
bit more
here.
portable.
This is super
yeah.
silly, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. Besides purple, this is my favorite feature. Bruh, do you understand that putting the cable here and then doing PoE up into the body so you
Okay,
have
hold
a
on.
single
What is PoE for those that don't know?
power over Ethernet. Power over Ethernet. And so you basically, this is a reverse of that. It's Ethernet over power. But they're basically, you plug in this guy in, and then so not only the electricity, which then turns into this nice fabric cable off to the right, but it slides up and that whole thing plugs into the back of your machine through this simple little umbilicus and max say pow. Girl, hey. Like that is an advancement in technology that is not difficult, but nobody else thought of it. So I mean,
Exactly. And
you know,
you need the power source with the Ethernet. If you ever use like the little travel hubs or whatever, you need that stuff anyway. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you can now, like, when I travel, I take an Ethernet cable with me because I'm trying to get the fastest speeds possible no matter where I am. So I'm taking more or less an Ethernet cable that's good. I usually have Cat 6 around the house, and I'll have a smaller one of those because it's like, and you always have the Ethernet ports and stuff in your no matter where you are, you almost always have it. So I try to connect that stuff up all the time, just again, to get the fastest speeds possible when I'm in that kind of scenario. So the fact that I don't have to necessarily, one, worry about what kind of a dongle or something that I'm taking or traveling with that, you know, has that, or does this also need to be like, it's less confusing and less stuff that you have to take or think about. Honestly, I'm glad that they did, because it just makes sense.
You know what's super funny is I was going to mention this, but then I didn't want to get yelled at by Keely for mentioning the lady's outfit. But bruh, I was like, Caleb and I was in the chat, in Ecamm chat, and I was like, Caleb, how about one time for the jumpsuit? He goes, right, it's so fire. I'm like, bruh, I dug the Canadian freaking tuxedo. I loved it. I'm not even joking. I'm not even clowning. I think that was super, super dope. Super, super dope. So, you know, here's the thing. Yeah, I don't always listen to those guys because they are completely allowed their opinion, right? And for anyone that's doing what we're doing, it's a dope maneuver. He's talking to a general population, but he's also talking to his audience is highly nerdy. So
Yeah.
No,
It's the same reason why we don't talk about certain cameras, because it's like, it's not that the camera's bad, but in a certain use case and who you talk to for the audience or anything else that we kind of talk about, you know what I'm saying, in that relative way, doesn't necessarily mean.
Go ahead.
I think
ahead,
from
David.
an advancement perspective, you know, the fact that it's advanced huge in the iMac. I mean, just the design, the sleekness, the portability, the power that it has compared to past generations is huge, big up. So I'm pretty impressed. I mean, even if you're a tech nerd, I mean, having something that thin with that much power in the M1 processor and stuff, no fans or very minimal fan noise, that's huge.
And David, you talk a lot about the
opinion.
travel. You talk about a lot about the travel community, like in the RV, you know, van lifers and stuff community. It's like weight is always a concern. Like, you need certain things, but weight is always a concern. So you lived that creative life. So what if you took and replaced whatever computer that you were using? Or honestly, let me ask you, what was like one of the most common computers that people that were also like creatives or entrepreneurs were using when they traveled?
A lot of them use the MacBook Pros, but a lot of them have the iMac 27-inch. So I had the iMac 27-inch on my desk, the picture I shared last week and stuff, and the MacBook Pro. Those are the two top, you know, kind of ones. But the creative people with the vlogs and stuff, they use these iMacs, these 27 inches. And you're right, weight matters, size matters, and stuff like that. And I think this is big for that location independent community and stuff.
Right.
100%.
So you think this guy, it'd be
see
much easier to strap into place and to keep it from moving around, but you're bringing a crazy mad M1 processor. This guy will, I think, be the second fastest of the lot. I think the Mini will still be the fastest. However, this could be the first because of its ability to breathe. What messes up the MacBook Pro is its ability to breathe. Which messes up the Air 100%. Is it definitely throttles after 10 minutes because of what it's breathing. If you're doing something high creative, if you're typing or writing your blog post, whatever, it's fine, right?
Browser based, whatever.
Browser based stuff, right? So for this guy, because it can breathe, because of the air, the heat distribution, whatever, I think it's fantastic from a creative standpoint. And again, I hate to. I don't hate to. I disagree with Marquez because I know what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted there to be no chin. Chin or no chin does not affect my ability to do work, right? It's an aesthetic thing, and I get it. Yes, a full immersed iPad looking front with no chin, whatever. But if I gotta have chin, the hell, it's a chin. It's Michael Shannon.
It's not that the fact that it gets
You're still
a name.
getting a real
It's like
estate,
it has a
whatever you
chin.
buy,
Yeah, it's like
you know.
it's like oh, it has a chin, or the phone has a notch. It's like comparative to the what you would get for the person that would be upgrading, that it's right for, they do not care like that. Like it's a preference at that point, but it's not really something. It's like, oh shoot, it's too much. It's,
You know where that
I
comes
would
from,
never
Ms. D?
buy. It's,
Here's where this comes from. It comes from, there's a thing in the internet where you have to be the dissenter. The dissenters get love. They just do. You have to be the person to go backwards. You have to be the person that makes up a Tucker Carlson level argument about nothing that actually bothers any actual work, but it's a legitimate argument, so to speak, right? And enough people buy it, then you being that dissenter person goes. So years ago, when somebody came up with this concept that Apple was going to get rid of the chin, and they did not, it generated a new word around Apple making a new design choice that Apple never said that they were going to do. This is the rumor mill made this crap up. Some dude got in his computer, drew a picture -1, and everybody went, ugh, I want it. They don't have to listen to you. And trust you me, they know why they put it there. My guess is right now it's sound.
All the Post-it moms, and the Post-it moms love it. Like I've not seen not one work from home woman, mom, or does something where they do not have Post-it notes on that chin. I'm not even joking. And it's like, it seems so silly, but I promise you, I don't watch any vlog. They have Post-it notes.
On the chin.
I like that.
On
The
the
Post-it
chin.
notes. That's the
Stickers.
Post-it zone.
Pictures of
There you go.
picture of them kids, picture of your dog. Hey, Ralphie.
Yeah,
Look, that's Ralphie right there. He cute. No, you ain't
Yes.
cute. My car the last time we rode together. You know what I'm saying?
And they
The hell
know
with Ralphie.
the moms control the wallet in every household. And she said she won't Post-it notes. Daggone the Apple said, okay, we're gonna get you
and
Post-it
nobody
notes.
outside of that the YouTube space and the the Twitterverse.
Yeah, true.
Nobody
Yeah.
that uses the computer gives a rat's. Only people who have watched Marquez and Renee, who have heard other people say that, and have heard even some of the high-end bloggers. I admit it. Would I love the chin missing? Yeah. Would it stop me from getting a computer? Hell no. Because it don't do anything. Nothing whatsoever
Yeah, it
to
doesn't stop you.
functionality. It's just, it's dumb. It's a dumb argument. It always has been. And I just wish this is where that people guessing what Apple's going to do and then Apple not doing what they guessed and then they're disappointed. That's always been
Self-inflicted
irritating.
wound.
Thank you.
You did it to yourself. They never said that we were not. It was never a consideration of them, and they're proud and happy. And they said they pay a ton of money to have people be spokesperson or to take time out of their schedule to make sure that they address whatever. Same way the camera manufacturers do. And they'll tell you yes or no, or that was something that would be interesting, but right now we're focused on this.
Oh, I'm mad at Sony because they didn't make the grip longer. Like they didn't ask you. They know what they're designing for.
Before the A6400 came out, any of the newer Sony cameras, it was like you had the A6000, A6300, and the Sony A6500. And then the rumor mill start talking about the A6700. A6700 has never materialized in that numbering type stuff. So it's like, and the way and some of the creative styles and stuff that people were putting on there or speculating, that camera still to this day has never ever been hinted or a speculation of or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they did something totally different than what the rumor mill, what we watching and inspecting. It never came to life. Till this day, like 2.5 some years later, the camera's never materialized.
Well, even the concept of everybody's like, oh, I'd rather go back to thicker and then get me some more ports or whatever like that. And it's like, no, that's not the design. They have a design language and they've committed to their design language and they're going to follow their design language. And here's the really cool part about their design language. If you don't like it, buy Dell.
Going back.
Get out. Raise Dell.
And on that note, let's just transit. Ugh. If you have a
free
Dell,
songs. We call that the free songs in South Louisiana.
if you have a Dell, go stand in the corner until the stream is over. Next step.
You know
So
why?
we
You
are
know why they
finally-
have? You know why? Another thing, June, that they don't think about because we're American and we're selfish like that. Where does Sony, Canon, Nikon, Fuji, Panasonic all come from?
They all come from America, right, Doc?
They come from a place with a massive camera culture. I mean, massive camera culture, like ridiculous camera culture, right? Like the store, if you ever have a chance to experience a Yodobashi camera, we're talking the equivalent of what Macy's would be here in the U.S., but camera equipment, electronics, tripod section got every brand, like more than Amazon. It's insanity, right? Their filter row is the size of my room with nothing in it but freaking filters. So the manufacturers are all Japanese, right? And the general size of a hand in Japanese is about 30% smaller than mine. So they're designing for their community. It is a global brand now, but they don't have to care about that.
It's
because
still
the global
it's still
brand
like
people,
the purchasing power,
right?
It's like
the
not
global
that
brand
America's
people
like,
are going to buy it because
but-
it's good,
right.
but they have to design for their people first, as they should. And they're not, being nationalists or anything crazy like that. They are designing for where the majority of their sales are still going to come locally because people there have, like us, those of us that got 5, 6, 7, 8 cameras, super normal there. You know what I mean? So they're not designing for you in your one camera for your one YouTube video for you to complain about my pinky keeps falling off. It ain't buy a battery grip, bro. It ain't about you.
And even with that last point on that one though, but just like it's just the idea that they do, and that's one thing I will say I appreciate about Sony, even Panasonic, that they will take a care into that small minority of creators. And it's like stuff like that produced the Sony ZV-1 and produced the Sony A7C, cameras, literally, and even stuff that went into the A7S III, so it's like they do listen, but again, prioritization. So when you talk about like the
they
iMac
come up with a
and stuff like
balance.
that, prioritization.
And the entire culture is based on balance. So they'll make it a little bit bigger, but they're not going to make an American hand size because in the hands of a standard person in Japan, it's going to be humongous. And you do a lot of movement on trains and travel, backpacking. Like their car life isn't like ours. There's a lot of it is train oriented. So they make a perfect balance to me. You just got to stop wanting, make your own stuff then. I mean, if you that badass, you need a giant hand camera, big ass hand camera. All right, cool. Check out bigasshandscamera.com.
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, you're looking at 300 million versus 1.7 billion, in that the Asian culture over there where Doc's talking about. So he's right. The audience, they're pandering to their base and stuff. Yeah. Not pandering, but they're designing to
performing
their base
for their base.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
You ready, Miss D? Because this is going to be
ready,
the heater.
man.
Bruh. Okay. Okay.
iPad.
What was your first reaction? Just first reaction.
You can tell them my reaction.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
go
put
first.
it in our chat. Put holy. Can you believe the new iPad Pro? I don't remember how I phrased it, but it was something like that.
Something like that.
The new iPad Pro.
It's just one of those things where you just sitting there and you like, whoa. And it's
You
just
can
like
really
you keep
dance?
looking and you just like, you look a little bit long and you're like, dang. And you just keep saying stuff like, oh man. And it's like, you just keep, it's like every few seconds you like, oh, it's like, to be honest with you, again, when you're traveling, weight matters. Like what you want to carry on your person throughout the duration of your trip, not take it with you and then that mostly stays in the hotel room or something like that or whatever, but like what you want to carry with you, weight and like the comfort of that matters. So the same way that in traveling, I've found that the ZV-1 replaces my A6600 in nearly all use cases and preference wise now, which is very interesting and weird for me personally. It's like I'm seeing, instead of carrying my MacBook Pro, I can just get an iPad Pro and I'm good. Like it's a relief and like a pain reliever, if you will, because it addresses the frustration and the pain of when I need to do something and it is a bit more creative. Now I got this little bitty space. The planes are already filling up every seat now. And so you're trying to peck it a little, this, that, and whatever, versus at least not having to worry about the key. You got an Apple Pencil and your productivity. Okay, so it's a lot. Like your productivity goes to a whole other level because you don't have to wait until you know what I'm saying, you get back to your regular computer. For a creative person, like any of us that's doing work and stuff, it's like, it's amazing. You know, it's amazing. I don't care how you put it, how you slice it, how you look at it. It's amazing. It's a brilliant piece of technology.
Oh my God, right? So my first reaction was, the video was goofy but so good.
Yeah.
It was goofy but so good. Like, oh my goodness, like it was beyond goofy, but holy crap, it was good. That had me dying. That literally had me dying inside because it was like, ding, 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 ding. And I was like, oh, they're going to go and someone trying to steal it and put it in like an Intel. I thought it was another Intel shade because Intel's been coming hard, but they're so far off the base. So anyway, after that, and they say M1, I was already there. But for me, it's not even about the M1. Like iPads were already fast. The M1 makes it dope.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
One thing to note, real quick, Mac OS and iPad OS are different. So a lot of your Mac apps aren't going to just run to the iPad. It will take some time.
Right.
But that's what WWDC for. On the 7th of June, we'll have this conversation.
And
So put a pin
to
in
my
the body.
Final Cut users, they already announced that Final Cut Pro is coming to the
Yeah.
iPad. I saw that
Yeah.
yesterday.
Just put a pin in it. It's coming. So just relax on that for a minute. Now, that being said, Thunderbolt. They had me at, you know me, on Thunderbolt as Ms. D calls it. Doc be like,
hello. You had me at hello. No, you had me at Thunderbolt 4.
yeah, I'd be at Thunderbolt, fam. Okay? Because I'm thinking, bruh, on the travel, we had this conversation like on the travel, right? I got my iPad. I got this guy, right? My little Anchor. Good thing I kept it. June, keep your hands off. I got my portable drive. Boom. I got that. I got my Z Victor 1. Boom. I got that. I got my iPad and my magic key thing, a tripod, filters, lens, few bottles of Japanese sparkling water, and a bottle of Tutankhamun.
I was just finna say, I
Empty.
thought you was finna say, I was like,
Empty.
Okay.
empty
Time
bottle
for a
of
new
Tutankhamun.
bottle.
Shh, keep it down. Oh yeah, I forgot one more piece of kit. I gotta bring the Rode NT1. All of this stuff
Yes,
will
all right.
fit
Not
into
too bad.
a Peter McKinnon design sling. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna bring the Rode Wireless Go 2. All of this will fit in the design sling. It's gonna come out to a little bit over 4.5 pounds, and just throw that joint on, and I can stream, edit, make videos, vlogs, whatever. I can just get to work in a tiny little get up and go. Hey, out of there. I got room for
Yeah.
a bag of chips in my bag still because the iPad is bringing fire. Like, I don't have to lug that 16-inch tank with me.
Right.
I will be able
Yeah.
to do everything. And in my video that I made yesterday, shameless plug, I spoke about the part of creating that not folks was talking about. Yes, Final Cut's coming. Yes, Lightroom is already there. Yes, Illustrator's there. Photoshop is there. Other things.
Luma
No,
View.
fam. You guys remember India's video where she's writing her little things down, writing her little scripts, using, ClickUp to do my work, writing in my regular ads, like the stuff that is not related, micro content chopping, posting, all of that in the iPad at the shop somewhere, having a flat white.
All right, I have a question.
Sir.
I have a question because my brain is kind of going, and I don't know the answer to this. Maybe y'all do. I realize that Mac apps and iOS apps are totally different, so we're not getting Ecamm and the iPad. Forget that. But can you, because that iPad Pro is so they've integrated that camera technology. If I'm not mistaken, they've upgraded it as well on that front and facing camera. Can you use the ZV-1 and go live straight to YouTube and use the external camera with the ZV-1 and stuff?
I
Here's my
don't think
speculation.
it'll work like that yet, but it might later.
Exactly. I
Okay.
think because and I was looking into some of like possibilities yesterday when you're talking about integrations like that. I think it's early right now as far as like the technology updates just haven't been made, but I think it's doable, which makes it essentially possible to do. So I think we should be seeing stuff like that. And I was just looking at cameras that are coming out and brands that do firmware updates. So you have Sony that does firmware updates, Fuji does regular firmware updates, and Panasonic does sometimes. They're mostly just like working on autofocus kind of a stuff from what I've seen. And when I noticed like the ZV-1, of all the other cameras, the ZV-1 gets firmware updates. So I think it's just a small push away if it can't natively through like a hub or something like that with the ability to change the camera source. I think it depends, you know, but I think it's something like for the cameras and the brands that do firmware updates, I think it's more or less a if they wanted to, it probably can.
Gotcha.
True that.
Because the fact that you can take the Sony phone, the Xperia phones, and just with a HDMI straight into the camera, and you can do mobile live streaming that way, the technology is already there. I just wonder if we're going to kind of see that come to some of the applications through the iPad
And trust
Pro.
me, one of the camera manufacturers saw the announcement right away, went to start trying to solve this problem because you know it's going to come. And then I'm thinking already you can wirelessly use the monitor from an iPad. I've been doing this for years from like iPad 2. You can wirelessly use the iPad as a monitor for a camera when you're doing like a cinematic shooting, like a director's tablet, right? So with that stuff in play, I think that it won't be far before we're able to either through Bluetooth LE or wire directly via cable, bring it in and use it as an external thing. So yes, I do believe that is coming. Let's take a look at some of the pretty, because it is just pretty.
It is beautiful.
I think one of the things that I'm really excited about is like pairing something like that with a Rodecaster Pro through the Bluetooth kind of a deal.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, actually,
like
a Rodecaster work plugged up straight as it is. Just plug that joint in.
It would, but it's just like if you need it. So here's the thing. So you can again all these connectivity ports and stuff on the Rodecaster work, and it's just like again adding in another source or adding more capabilities and functionalities with. You know, not that the Rodecaster Pro is super portable, but it's a portability option. You know what I'm saying? And I just love I love the fact that you can game on it. That honestly shows how hard you can push something.
That looks pretty bad.
If you guys,
I mean,
if you guys don't know that Steel Series controller, which is about $50, that Steel Series controller is legit.
It's got an M1. It's just, I mean, at the end of the day, an iPad with an M1 chip. Period. Like, period.
Period.
Period. Okay.
That's what a
And
double
Thunderbolt 4.
Thunderbolt. Man.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
We didn't even get to the 5G. Going back to what David talked about, the ability to stream from anywhere.
Yeah,
you just set up on. He on a boat. He like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out here in San Diego Bay and Coronado. I'm on a boat. Look, jumpsuits in effect again. Oh no, that's a skirt. She had me. Man, you know the other thing. This screen though, right? It is a liquid retina display. And again, I said yesterday in my video I wasn't fitting to get nerdy with folks, but it's 4.5K. Well, that's the iPad. I mean, sorry, that's the iMac. But it's it's 10,000 nits in brightness, or 1,600 nits in brightness, 10,000 mini LEDs for imagery. It's just it's like this. It's the sickest, dopest display in a tablet, and they set themselves up right now where it's already going to be 3x faster than the Samsung tablet that didn't even come out yet.
Dang.
This part right here, okay, gang. So center stage, what this means is if you are able to use it as a camera and you are able to connect it to your streaming thing, and say you're streaming from the kitchen like my boy Phil, while you're doing this and you go to walk away, it will follow you because it's doing like the ZV-1 where it's shooting a larger image and then cropping it down into the center, wherever you want to be. So, man, look at that display.
Kind of like a Apple's own version of clear image zoom, but motion tracking.
So it's using pen and scan technology, but man, I'm just saying, this is crazy. From a content creator standpoint, let's not get it twisted. This guy is not going to come in if you're faint of wallet. Stay out. Okay, because I spec'd it yesterday. Two things to know. Up to 512, it's an 8 gig M1. 1 terabyte and 2 terabytes, it's a 16 gig M1. So the reason why that is important, if LumaFusion and Final Cut are your move, the Adobe Rush or whatever, those things are your move, Logic, you're going to want to get at least a terabyte, which makes sense anyway, because one of the things about being portable is you're not going to want to take the extra drive. Yeah, it's not a lot. I mean, this is super tiny. These are tinier, but it's an iPad. You kind of just want to pick it up and go. I'll probably get these for the iPad, though, because it's so small, and I'll just put gecko tape on it so that you can stick it and peel it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really stick. It's just that, like the one for your car, the Spider-Man pads, I call them, because you can just stick things to them.
Screw that, man. I just use Velcro. Like the the Velcro, I used to put that on the back of my monitor for my MacBook Pro if I'm traveling, so I can just have it. Yeah, I just put it that way.
See, then when you go with your sweater, you hold your thing, your iPad stuck to your sweater. No, I'm clowning.
No, not that.
I just spec'd it out while you're talking, Doc.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to say. So if you go in there and you do it straight, right? I personally this is me now. I personally will never get the 5G built in for the simple reason that I have a 5G phone that I can tether. So that's fine. And then when I travel and I go to places like Japan, the portable puck that you carry around, which is about this big, and it can handle 10 devices and do like 200 by 200 asynchronous connection, is $8 a day. So that's normally what I use in a travel situation. So yeah, I'm not even thinking about that bad boy from that perspective. But yeah, it's not a faint of heart device, but this is so powerful. I think it's worth every cent.
If you can't buy this and get your money back within, a few, like, no, it's not a don't buy it. It's the fact that whatever you're buying it for has no return on investment possibilities. So it's like you can't complain about spending money on something if it doesn't have a return on investment possibility. The fact that we do creative work means that there's a return on investment possibility. And if I've already factored that in, that expense makes sense to the business. If it doesn't, then just assume that same way you buy expensive shoes or clothes or anything that you're interested in, a TV, you put a value to that because of your interest or because you like it. And that's all that it took for you to make that higher end purchase. It had nothing to do with how like a coat or the shoes were going to you're not running track, you're not an Olympic gold medalist or whatever. So it doesn't matter. But it's like creatively, this is the Olympics. You need gear. You need good gear that's going to get you through not just your practice, not just your warm-ups, but to the event and then some. So it's like, for me, honestly, it's some money to be put up for this, but at the same time, creatively, or whatever your business expense is, the same with anything else, it needs to make sense. And if I'm going to buy something, you buy it right or you buy it twice. So for me personally, because I know, like, working with 4K footage, even in the micro content, I'm recording that in 4K, and then I'm doing something where I'm cropping that in the vertical, or I'm reframing that to put it in square or whatever the kind of formats. Okay, I'm also trying to mitigate resolution loss when I, post something. That taken into consideration and knowing that Final Cut is going to come, I'm not looking to edit super long projects, but because I know I'm already working with 4K footage, and I know that the iPad is going to be rendering, 1,000 terabytes is not going to be as much as it sounds in actual use. And so I also want breathing space, for just other stuff. Or again, if you're bringing in 3 to 4 files that you all finna chop this stuff up, I just want breathing space. So 2 terabytes is the minimum when you're talking about storage, whether it's external or internal. Internal, though, me personally, I would just probably get the Wi-Fi version, and that $17.99 is a good price and a good investment, honestly, for what you're going to get out of it. Because for some people, that's less than a gig.
Right.
They're charging way more than $1,800 for a gig. for whatever it is that you're doing, any kind of work per se.
Okay, so let me put things into perspective, because from a content creator standpoint, this is dope, right? And like I would probably come in at this at $17.99, and based on connections, it'll be like 1,500 bones. But this is dope, right? So that's everything space gray, Wi-Fi, 1 terabyte. 2 terabyte, I think I showed it right before, will take us to 21. Still not bad, because again, you're talking like a couple of projects to recoup that. Or you could buy one of these.
or if you're feeling froggy.
Sorry, David.
Hey.
I just had to.
No.
Because that's
All
what people
good.
would do, though, right? And again, I'm not picking on you, because you can do whatever the heck you want. You David Blackman.
Hell yeah.
But it's the fact that people would do that and say, but it's an iPad. This is my business iPad, right? Like, I'm going to use this to run my business. And they're going to be
Hell,
like,
I'm
it's
glad I
going to cost me
didn't.
$2,200. And then I'm like, all right, then let's just go eat. You drive. Okay, we come out. They press the button. The Tesla pull out the parking space by itself. Doors go shh. And I look at them. And so you're not going to get an iPad? You know what I'm saying? Like, this will make you more money than the Tesla ever will. The Tesla will take you
Yeah.
to and from work. That's a thing. I'm not going to hate on it. You're not the Uber
I want
driver.
a Tesla.
But and I would never buy one of those things. I think they're a piece of
I
crap.
want one
but
of
that's
those.
just me.
I do.
That's just me.
Man.
Oh no,
What
I
happened?
want one too, Don.
So
I want one.
we won't get into that conversation. But I would
You're
challenge
outvoted,
you.
Doc. You're outvoted.
You can outvote me all you want to. I'm a car guy. I would challenge you to go up to any Tesla, and I want you to just look at the fit and finish tightly. The technology is insanity. Tesla does a Samsung. The technology is insanity. It is gorgeous. It is the best tech in the freaking car industry. The doors don't line up. The seats don't have even stitching. Like, that's the stuff that matters. You don't know until you drive it every day. Anybody that has one would tell you reaching over to grab the center console is quite weird, because they know nothing about ergonomics. They knew about the tech. So that's why I wouldn't buy one.
There's I know.
David,
I wanna
here's
say
one more
this.
thing for you, just to make
Go
this
ahead.
trouble to you real quick. Then I'll let you speak on it, Kanye. You see what this? You see what that does? Can you see that?
What's that? Hold on. I can't. I got it on a small. I got to wait.
Okay,
till it
don't
hits
worry.
the
I'll
YouTube
tell you.
over here.
There is a
Go ahead.
cord
Oh yeah.
coming from the wall next to the elevator to the dude's house, next to the beach,
Yeah.
plugged into his range. So you don't have to buy you don't have to slum. You can get an electric
Oh, yeah, there
range.
you go. Yeah, I tell you what. I looked at it when I was up there. I looked at those electric ones, and
Oh, that's funny.
yeah. I
That's
want to
funny.
pull an Airstream behind my Range Rover, so I wanted the 8,000-pound, towing capacity of the one that I got. So
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't work for your thing. So the thing is definitely from a creator standpoint, like this is a tool, and this tool will cost you some paper. But I'm gonna have to agree with Miss D. I think if you couldn't recover the majority of that and say, I'll give you 6 months, right? Normally I say 3 months, but if you can't recover that in 6 months, yeah, you gotta rethink your creation wants versus needs. I think this is something you could easily recover in a couple of months if you're properly created. Even on freaking YouTube ad rev, you can recover that in a year. You know what I'm just saying?
I just think for somebody that, even if you're just getting started as a creator, sometimes you need to, and it really depends on how serious and committed you are to what you're saying that you want, and to actually getting to the point that you achieve what you want, is making those investments up front. And it doesn't mean that what if you don't get, reimbursed within that first year? Like, you need to be committed to making that investment because of what it provides you the opportunity for you to do, versus like, instead of saying like, how much will this cost? It's like, what does this make possible? It's like, if you can switch that verbiage like in your mind, then that opens up the doors to where creatively, if you just assume like, oh God, I can't afford it, I don't have the money, or whatever the case is, at the moment right now, yeah, you may not have it, but it's like, honestly, it's like we've all blown $2,000 somewhere across several purchases on stuff that didn't make sense or had no intent for a return on investment, and you did it anyway.
Yep.
You know, so it's like if you're really just getting started in your content creative, journey, and you need to make that investment up front, it needs to make sense and like be an investment towards what you're doing. It's like same reason I came from PC. So buying a Mac for $1,400 is an investment in a tool that I had zero experience on knowing how to use, or an investment in a $1,200 and $1,300 camera that's a completely different brand than what I was used to is an investment, especially when you add on, they ain't talking about lenses, that's just the body. So you add on lenses, and it's like the A lens is $600, A lens is $800, A lens is $400. An investment into gear that I had no knowledge of how to use it. I'm committed to, you know what I'm saying, like the learning curves and all that comes with it and making the money back kind of a deal. So it's like it has to be something like an investment up front sometimes, but it's got to be a reason to why you're doing what you're doing. Otherwise, you just plan, you know?
I'm laughing at Noble. Yo,
Noble
that lens
Bowman.
right there, this is a $1,500 lens. Right, it's just the lens.
What is that specifically, Doc? For those that don't
this
know,
is a
I know
one.
it's a Zeiss.
It's a Zeiss 1.8. A Zeiss 24 millimeter 1.8. Right. You know, I'm just saying, like, I don't know. People. Okay, here's the crazy stuff. That really right stuff bracket that's on the bottom, just the bracket. That is a $300 bracket. Because why? At the time, they didn't make any of the other ones that are out now, the small rigs and that. At the time, it was the best thing in the industry. And if you shoot a lot of vertical footage for still shots, rather for landscapes or whatever, it's just normal. And again, the lens that we're going to show you in a second is going to be a $2,000 lens. In photography space, the iPad is cheaper than average lenses, right? Anybody you've seen with a Canon 5D Mark II with the white 24-70 IS, $3,000, $2,500 if you got it used, and everybody has one.
For the sharpness, for the range, for the all that goes into it, and for it to still be light, you know what I'm saying, comparative to the what other, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, until you use a lens like that, and like then you see like people like, oh, it really is amazing. And somebody's like, well, you can get the 55 to 200, that's like $350. Why would I want to get that? It's like, you don't understand. It's like you don't understand. It's not something that you understand until you're in that environment, and you need to do like, you know what I'm saying, something like that. The 70 to 200, it's a beautiful lens. It's a beautiful lens.
Here,
where you get the
let me pop
F4
the
or
B-roll real quick.
F2.8.
It's going to mute
So
you
this
for a
is
split
for-
second.
Okay. So this is the new, Sony just came out with a 14 millimeter f1.8. Is it, Doc?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 14 millimeter f1.8. Now, granted, depending on if you are purchasing lenses and what your use case is, you may already have this focal length somewhere in a lens, but the size, sharpness, again, portability, and just how compact it is comparative to other stuff, unheard of. Unfreaking heard of. And it has like the little filter thing in the back of the lens. So if you, because obviously it's a bulbous lens, so it's curved on the front. You're not going to put a traditional thread on there like, you know, your CPL filters or black probe filters.
Oh, they go in the back.
Those aren't, they go in the back. So, and they give you templates. So if you need to cut out your own stuff for like ND or whatever stuff, whatever you're trying to do, you can put that on the back. They give you little stuff that comes with it when you get the lens. But this lens
look at that.
is
Look at
freaking
that.
incredible.
So the blades, he's pointing right. You got the nano AR coating, which helps that flare. But with the way the blades are situated, you get that dope Michael Bay burst. Look at that star back there. And for astro people, we call that sagittal flare, star flare. But yeah, that's just
Hashtag
dope.
sun stars for anybody else.
Yeah. So, because the star is sagittal. So anyway, when you look at these things, see, look, sagittal flare, Pam. I know what I'm talking about, lady girl. Anyway, and it has a f.8 gorgeous Buki. Look at, oh my God, Sakura. Oh yes, Lord, yes. You know what?
Y'all got Doc over there speaking another language.
Listen, hey, what's up with the foot
How much
fetish,
is
player?
that lens?
Hey, what's up with the foot fetish? It's
Hey man, he
1600.
said they let me test this lens. Let me get a few girls out of here. Let me see them toes, girl.
Okay, so here's what's dope about this guy too. from a travel lens perspective, fam, I'm always on my 16 millimeter. I love it. It's a dope travel lens. Get me 2 more millimeters at 1.8, fam. It is
It's
a
a
dope
difference.
travel lens because I don't have to swap out to video. I can keep it on for photo and video. And what I was doing in the past is using the wide f4 for my, landscape type joints, but then I got to go to a fast, and then my fast was bringing me down to 35 mil. So now, or 24 when I bought this 24 is because I wanted something wider than the 35. So what this is going to give me from a travel lens perspective is dope travel lens capability, vlogging while traveling capability, astro capability, and video capability in a single freaking 1600 bones lens. And it won't be 1600 bones because my best friend Topher works at Sony, but that's not the point.
Even still, it's like, so with the Sony, again, with Sony, you have access to clear. You incorporate not six, I don't even know where the number 6 came from, but when you incorporate clear image zoom in this Sony camera, you have 14 millimeters and you can crop up to 28 millimeters. So essentially, you buy this one lens, you have the equivalent of a 14 to 28 millimeter f1.8 lens. And Manny shows just how much bigger
that
actual
Sigma
zoom
joint
lenses
is
in
massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
Dude, this is like,
Huge.
if you look at these lenses in order, so there's like David, and then me, and then little Miss D, and then he dropped in the new Sony India size.
Doc, I have a very important question for you.
Yes,
You
sir.
know what the next best thing to having a friend work at Sony is?
Owning Sony?
No, it's having a friend who has a friend working
Who
at
works
Sony.
at Sony? Yes, sir. This guy right here.
David said, "Don't worry, I still got the hookup by way of a hookup
I do
that has
too.
a hookup.
By way of a hookup.
By
bro.
way of a hookup."
I mean, again, like for those of us that are on an APS-C camera, right? So if you're not shooting with a fully, right, you're gonna have an APS-C camera. Just do the 1.5. 14 to 1.5 is 20 millimeters. That's still, I mean, 20.
And it's small. It's just size matters, man. Again, size and weight matter. So now you go from having 2 to 3 lenses in your bag versus iPad Pro, Apple Pencil, ZV-1, if you want to take it, and then you also got whatever your full frame body is, and then you have this lens.
I would take this and my 24 to 70 because you always take your 24 to 70 no matter what, because that's just the lens that every camera, every manufacturer, everybody got a 24 to 70. I would take this and my 24 to 70 be good. And they go, oh, but no, 70 is not long enough zoom. I'm like, I use Nike Zoom. First of all, I'm going to walk to where I got to get. And then if I can't get any closer, I'm probably not shooting it. That's just not my thing. I'm not, a creeper photographer.
That's a different person, a different creator type. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
I mean, because
Traveling, though, it's like, and that's the thing. It's like,
this
so
300 right here, bruh. This 300, like fully extended, that joint long, bruh. I don't want to be dealing with
how
that.
heavy is it?
Heavier than that whole camera. And this is the light one. That's actually the light one because that's the Tamron. But yeah, in like Sony metal body versions, like I bought that zoom. That zoom is meant to be light because it's a plastic one. When you get a metal one, it's your arm be like dragging the ground, knuckle dragging. No, I'm not trying to do that.
Right. And Mr. Camera Junkie, he makes a good point. He's like, it's also rectilinear lens, no fisheye effect, which is I mean, you always gonna have some slight distortion, but it's like comparative to other fisheye lenses, like your $50, $100, $200 manual focus, whatever brand lens on Amazon, versus something like this is kind of like the GoPro effect, and why they added the linear system as well is so that you can be wide without being bold and stuff like that as well.
Dean's stupid. What's up, Dean? Good to see you. Dean's stupid. He come in the gate just saying random crazy.
Right. He probably been lurking for a minute. Good to see you, brother
Bruh,
Dean.
good to see you, Dean. Bruh, that's funny. And you know what, Mr. Camera Junkie, I lied because I switched to Adidas like 5 years ago. But you know what I mean.
No brand loyalty. No brand loyalty.
No, Manchester switched Adidas. I switched. So that was into that. Manchester and Notre Dame both went Adidas. So that was it. Anyway, fam, good to see you, Mr. David. Yeah, I just think this is a valuable piece of kit. Yeah, I'm already thinking. I have a couple of lenses that I don't use anymore that I think collectively I can sell those and get like 12 total. And then so it's literally going to be like a $300 purchase. And again, hopefully Tofi can come through. But normally what happens is Sony lenses like this will sell out on the first freaking couple of days. So unfortunately, you can't really sleep on it because Sony will sell out mad quick. And then the other craze, never mind Topher. I could just call Tony from Pro Camera Hawaii. Not sponsored. But let me put this up. I gotta give me some cheap discount lens love. So yeah, Tony, call your mans. Call your mans, Tony. Call your mans. So, Vinny is out here now. What's up, fam? Oh, cool. I know he said he was coming out this way. So I'm glad. I guess he made it.
We had some other Apple news.
Yeah, what
in regards to Apple, and it's regarding the Apple Podcast.
Oh,
yep,
bro.
David, what you got, man?
This is kind of a big game changer, I think. There's several things that recently came out that Apple Podcast is changing. They're giving creators the ability to offer subscription services. So, before where the metrics for podcasts were downloads, and it was really kind of hard for advertisers and sponsorships for you to generate revenue and stuff. They, with Patreon and Buy Me a Coffees and all the stuff that all the other platforms have, Apple Podcasts is now integrated and given the ability for creators to own that space and stuff with offering subscription services. So that's huge, the ability to monetize your podcast big time. That's a big deal with Apple Podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, well, and they blessed up the app to make it look better. But when I saw that thing about allowing, these guys with premium content subscription, this is what David's speaking on right now, I was like, whoa, that's a game changer.
Yeah,
that's a game changer.
It puts it into the hands of the creators, which is really, really good and stuff. So you can, a lot of people have been podcasting and stuff, and they've been sharing valuable information, for years for nothing, basically. And now they have the ability to allow people to support their channel and stuff on the podcast side, on the Apple Podcast. So I think it's a big thing. There's a couple other things that I really like that I think are really cool. They're always also allowing creators to curate content, so discovering channels and stuff. So basically, if you enjoy a certain type of something, kind of like YouTube and stuff, it's going to start showing you content that creators have curated to, find other shows easier and stuff. And that's kind of a cool deal as well.
I think that's dope too, because that's something that Miss Diane and I do. Is people say, if you listen to this podcast, you'll probably love this podcast. And it's funny. It's funny that Crime Junkies is showing up here, because it turns out that Katie and myself are both true crime fans. So I love Crime Junkies, right? Yeah, that's my little man girl thing. So what? Then I show her like, oh, if you like this joint, then you're gonna love Obsessed and Morbid, and I gave her like 3 other podcasts, and then so she listened to one that I recommended, and she's like, oh my God, that's so dope. So now she sent me something, and this all kind of started, that genre blew up because of Serial, right? Which again, they get a lot of credit because Serial brought podcasts to normal folks. Like, I've been listening to podcasts and creating podcasts since 2004, but it's funny that blew it up, and once that blew it up, it's a thing, bro. It's a thing, and so it's kind of cool to be able to not only get yourself paid, curate for your fans if there's other kit that they need to listen to. So I'll be like, if you listen to Miss D, then you need to listen to Jared, because Jared is dope too, right? And then if you listen to those two, then you gotta listen to Kurt. You know what I'm saying? You can build a curation list out of folks that will match what you're listening to, and I think that's dope.
Yeah, one of the things that I like, which kind of was a pain in the before when you were on Apple Podcasts, is, when you would go to listen to your podcast, and if you were in a series like Serial or something like that, it didn't automatically take you back to the place where you were, where you left off, which was kind of crazy in my mind. Well, they've added the new Smart Play button to help listeners automatically start their shows from the latest episode and stuff. Whereas before, it was whatever they put out that week, it was coming. That's what you were getting and stuff. So that's new Smart Play button is kind of a big deal for me because, I may come back 3 weeks later and they may have released 10 podcasts by then, and I've got to go digging to figure out, where I left off and stuff, and now I'll have to do that.
They definitely added that.
They needed to update it.
Yeah, the podcast app needed a makeover so bad. And here's where I'm going to love this the most. I don't know if I told you guys about this. I don't think I ever made a review video because I plugged it up. I did the setup. The setup took a minute because I ran into an issue. So I think that made me close my reviewing the video process. And then I plugged it in, and I'm in love with it, so I've never unplugged it. But my little baseball is so dope. It is so dope. Like, I don't even listen to the big one no more. The little one is so dope. I got one in the bathroom and one in the bedroom. And so that's the HomePod Mini. And so my favorite part about the HomePod Mini, right, is so I'm listening to Video Simplified. And I'm in the bedroom. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the kitchen real quick. So I just go like this, and then boom, it's on my phone. So I'm walking into the kitchen, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a shower first. I'll eat after. So I'll pull the stuff out the fridge so it can get to the right temperature. Whenever I walk into the bathroom, I go like that, and then boom, now it's on the bathroom. So I can shower, trim the beard, cut hair, whatever. And then right when I'm done, because Miss D, she'll still be talking, and then I just go like that. And then it's back on the phone again. So that is money. Right now, with the one thing that's weird, though, it got me wanting to get like a couple more baseballs because I have Alexa in the kitchen, and I love her because of the screen. When I ask her, a recipe or something, I can see that. But it don't sound nothing like that tiny little baseball. It sounds like Miss D sounds like she in my kitchen throwing shade at people who don't listen. like she right there, like almost, hey, you want a sandwich? And she like, nah, fool, I'm in the podcast. I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
it sounds
I
so
think
good.
One of the things that, in relation to live streaming and how this benefits and why this is such big news, is the fact that Ecamm.live, for example, the software that we're using to live stream right now with, a lot of people are starting to use it for their podcast recording. They're starting to multi-create, on YouTube. So and even ISO tracks and stuff where you're splitting the audio and stuff. We've got one coming out, by the way, Letsget.live podcast. Full redesign. This is huge for live streaming because you can repurpose that content and then monetize your content and stuff at the same time on Apple Podcasts where you never could before. So this is why this is huge for the live streaming community and stuff as well. You can bring that aspect of it into the podcasting world, and it's just huge. One last thing, they've got the new website for Apple Podcasts for creators, and it's a podcast educational platform. So if you want to get into podcasting and stuff, they've totally redesigned it, and they've made it to where it's an educational platform to help you take podcasting to the next level.
They should have did that a long time ago.
Yes,
and
they
I think
should.
for so long
They did for a little bit, but it didn't catch on because at that time podcast wasn't where it is. But they tried.
And I think they questioned themselves. Like, it's like, we're going to stay here, but we don't know where this is going to go kind of a thing. It's like, we'll see. Or they just going to wait until popularity comes. It's like, hey, we've been thinking about you. We've been racking our brains about this. It's probably been sitting on it for the last 3 or so, 4 or 5 years, kind of idea. But they should have did that a long time ago. But I think, honestly, if you look at what did it take even 3 years ago to do a podcast versus even last 3 to 5 years, what did it take to do a podcast like we're doing this right now? This literally could be the podcast episode, right? For us to get the Shure SM7B, the Rodecaster Pro did not exist, which is why that was such a brilliant piece of technology when it was announced. because it combined all of the frustrations that people used to have to go through. And there would be courses and stuff out there. It's like upwards of $1,000 or $2,000 just simply to know the basics around the how to set up one. And it was a good value because you didn't have to search through forums and all kind of crazy stuff and who was relevant and who was right or whatever, or even to take a live phone call, a ton of stuff. So the technology was not as easy. Internet was not as fast. And honestly, it's like the system to do the basic stuff that we can do now using Ecamm.live, a Rodecaster Pro, or hell, even the Rode Connect app. You know what I'm saying? It's like it didn't take, like it's so much easier to get high professional quality stuff and just post it at a moment's notice. And like within minutes, it wasn't there. You know, so you had to get those super huge mixer boards and you had to have the, you know, like a Roland R05 or whatever the hell, or Zoom H4 back in the day or whatever to record your podcast. Also, you know what I'm saying, have something like an audio interface because your mixer may not have had one built in, and all kinds of other kind of routing and chaining stuff. And if one link broke in that process, then you're screwed. So the fact now you have a ton of stuff that's just like begging you to make a podcast about, especially like with Ecamm, we get isolated audio tracks. When this show is done, we have the video. We have the video without the audio, the system audio. He got audio tracks for both David and myself and all kinds of stuff. So we got clean, high quality audio ready to go. So the fact that they now have made like a creator space, and I love that more brands are paying attention to the creator market, because the quote unquote influencer market used to be talked about like gum on the bottom of your shoe. Like, oh, you just some little old, you know. So now, but they understand we hold more brand power for your brand than a lot of y'all do, because ain't nobody listen. They listen to a David Blackman talk to you about the importance of owning your own digital real estate, and here's what you need to have, and here's what your brand messaging should look or represent, or all this other stuff. And then you incorporate that video podcasting type stuff. Now what? You know what I'm saying? It's like you blow your channel up, or you get that brand authority for yourself. Now they're asking, hey, you want to work with us? All right, let's negotiate. So they should have been had the education space for creators, because it would have made it. Well, I'm glad they have it now, because it's definitely needed. It's so much easier than what it was years ago.
Well, there's one more really huge live streaming news that we hadn't talked about this week.
Yes.
And I think we should drop it on the folks here. You heard it here first. If you're looking at these amazing Let's Get Live overlay packs that we use, and you enjoy these scenes and stuff that we have set up over at Letsget.live, the website, we are launching overlays like these that you can go and get and download and purchase some really premium ones along with the free ones and stuff. Check them out, Letsget.live. The shop will be launching tomorrow, mañana. So there you go.
how do you, tomorrow, mañana? What's mañana? I'm joking. What about
Mañana.
Ashta dayo? Sorry, I'm clowning.
Yeah,
Man.
super excited. We got some really good ones. We got some.
So we, as you can tell,
There's a lot of work going into those.
I was gonna say,
There's
as
a
you
lot
can
of
tell,
work
we
going in.
need to buy a bunch of like 2 terabyte iPads and iMac and purple phones and Sony lenses. So go buy some overlays.
Yeah, there you go. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I'm clowning. I did put a link in the chat because David was talking about the podcasting course. I want to send a shout out to my homie Tom Buck. He has a podcasting course that's rolling pretty soon. I did put a link into his thing too, because we like to support our community, and he's a member of LGL. And you know, Tom's course will be full of jokes that are very bad, but he's gonna bring the heat because he's the Rodecaster Pro genius.
It's going to be valuable because there's a lot of course creators out there that are creating courses about how to do something that have never actually done something. Tom's actually a great example of someone who's built a business, just stepped away from his job to do this full time as a content creator. So the value in that course is going to be huge compared to someone who's Never done that before. So he makes his living doing this now. So it's huge. And, yeah, it's a big deal. I think.
Yeah, it's
I think
kind of a
be
big
dope
deal.
course.
I was just going to touch on Daph's question real quick. Daph Levy, she asked about the A10 Mini versus the A10 Mini Pro. I had the Mini Pro. Like, I liked it. Honestly, it's a good device. But to me, I could do more stuff with just Ecamm as it is with the way my setup was set up. It was just an extra thing for me. But you can get crazy with it. The one advantage that the Pro gives you is the ability to hang a hard drive off of it and record directly to that hard drive. Whereas the Mini itself doesn't give you that record to drive capability. And there's one other thing which I completely forget, but
I just want it's something I was going to ask. I asked her like, what's her goal with having the A10 Mini Pro? Because that's always a very important question for you to self answer. Is what is your goal with what you're trying? Like, what are you trying to do, and why are you buying this gear? Or like in your case, it was a gift, which is a fantastic gift. But it's like, what's the goal with the why you're going to use it? And so with the A10 Mini, like I got it sitting back there on the sofa. It's like I used it. Yeah, it's it's like I used it, but it's back there on the sofa. And the thing is, it's like it's a camera switcher in essence. Like, but you can hit the button and it's a picture-in-picture, and it's like the same button is already built into Ecamm.Live, kind of a deal. Or you have scenes and stuff like that. And so it's A10 Mini is fine. The other thing though that of the features that Doc mentioned is the ability to, or the lack of its ability to see the preview. So when you see people that are showing their pictures of A10 Mini usage or whatever, and you see camera 1, camera 2, 3, 4, and blah, 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 you don't get access to that until you get the A10 Mini Pro. So
Yeah,
otherwise you kind of are flying blind unless you like, and there's videos out there of people trying to hack it and all this, and it's just not worth it. It's worth it to, if you want it for whatever use case, and get the A10 Mini Pro. The A10 Mini is fine, but you already, if you're using Ecamm, you have that. And then there's the question about the Cam Link versus like an A10 Mini perspective. You can buy 4 Cam Links, or you can get like an A10 Mini or A10 Mini Pro kind of a deal. The cool thing with it, it does take some load off of your computer, and you have all of that built into that solo device. So if you have 4 cameras and you don't want to do the Cam Link thing, you got 4 camera feeds that you can just natively plug in with a HDMI to a micro HDMI for most cameras, and that's it. You don't need you don't need anything more. My frustration that I had with it, the A10 Mini specifically, is that in Ecamm, you see that whatever main camera source, it's just like you see the camera option as the A10 Mini. You do not see all of your other camera sources. So whichever one you're choosing out of the A10 Mini is the one that Ecamm is seeing. So you don't like, so I can pick between camera 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the device. Ecamm only shows the A10 Mini. It does not show camera 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's why you would need like the A10 Mini Pro if you're going to use one of those. So on a separate screen or something, you have access to your actual camera feeds to know what you're switching to without having to kind of feel like you're switching blindly before you do that. I just don't think, for me personally, it's a cool device. But I think for me personally, if I had the power on the computer or whatever, I honestly would rather use capture cards so I can because I would rather use Ecamm.
I was going to say, here's the thing about that too. So the A10 Mini Pro, $600. Right? Not that it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, $600. If I had it right now and I had the choice, and so say I have an older machine that has CPU problem, like it can't handle all the cameras I want, I would take the $600 I was going to spend on the A10 Mini Pro and leave it on the desk and go get another $100 and turn it into an M1 Mac Mini that can handle all of them capture cards.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
I ain't talking to you. You always do that. She be butting into people's business. Like, it's crazy that what people would throw at their old computer to try to make it better when you probably should just stop doing anything else, save the grip,
get the new computer,
and then move up to the new computer. And trust you me, now, this is going to take you some time. No, you don't have to rush into this. Your stream isn't going to become Oprah overnight. So leave that joint on the envelope, let it sit there, and then come September, October, when the M1X minis come out, all of these minis is going to be for sale, which is funny because I brought that up to, Camera Junkie saw it up here. And then, wait, now that I think about it, I'm really messing up because Daph works at Apple, so she get 25% off anyway. So it's the same price for you. It is almost the same price as the A10 Mini Pro for you. So just throw that joint out the window and forget about it.
Get
And
the new
also
computer,
know,
yeah.
also know for right now, if you don't already have it, get the SM7B because Apple employees get the SM7B for the special low price of, I can't say on this thing, but it's really cheap.
I know what it is, and it's
I know what it
ridiculous.
is too. I know exactly what it is. So
I
would
like,
say
huh,
check
it's what?
Apple sources and see what companies or what things that you can get for cheap. Blackmagic might even
Yeah.
be in there, because they treated us well with discounts at other places. And just don't rush. Just take your time and build up. And so I would say before you do that, I would just go M1 Mac Mini, and she got the SM7B already because she know it's crazy.
Listen. So, I mean, the other thing with using like the A10 and A10 Mini in my experience was for a solo person that is doing their own thing, that's fine. You can switch between the whatever. But I also have a keyboard with a number pad where I can actively switch between my camera sources with a capture card. You know what I'm saying? Like connected or what have you. So it's like for me, I personally would rather have the stronger computer and use Ecamm personally. If it's myself doing it, it's one thing if you get into like a small church use case and stuff like that or whatever, then it's like maybe it makes sense. But it's like when you're getting into more setups, it's like, okay, who's going to run all this? Because are you doing the podcast and like the stream or whatever, are you supposed to also be on camera? Because it's like to run a competent, complex show, who's going to run it? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's one thing if you're behind the scenes and you're doing all of that, then it's like, that's fine. Then you pick your preference and how you work best. But at the same time, though, if you're supposed to be the person on camera and you're supposed to be running all this stuff, how? You know what I'm saying? It's possible, but it's like, again, you got to answer the how. So for me personally, I would rather have the stronger computer, and I would rather run the camera switcher with the cam links kind of an option for me personally in my personal use case. But it's like, I get it for what it does, but if I'm using Ecamm, and I always am, I just would rather be able to have the camera switcher inside of Ecamm versus the A10 Mini, in my personal opinion.
I agree 100%, especially because, like, again, it's so much easier to just go and do something like this. I'm going to show you real quick. So, Daph, I have it set up right now where, as you can see, my other camera just comes in from the top. And it's another camera. I can plug my ZV-1 through USB. I got 4 cam links. It's all connected to the same computer. So I just like being able to come here, take this joint, show off my little loop deck, all of that stuff on the fly. It's just, to me, it's an easier and better look. So me personally, I wasn't a fan of it. It didn't do nothing for my socks. Like, it just did it.
I mean, you may have it and you may freaking love it. It's like some of that stuff you really got to try and see how you like it. Like I said, I tried it and my initial thoughts around it was exactly what I thought it would be, but it doesn't make it a bad piece of gear. It's just that,
Didn't fit my workload.
Yeah, it's like if I get that or the A10 Mini Pro, then it's like, okay, now I need another screen. So I got access to that. And it's like, again, weight matters when you're carrying gear or like the loadout. It's like, so you got 50, 60, 70 pounds on your back, or you got a Pelican case, kind of a deal, the 1510, and you got some wheels with it. You still got to lug that mug around. So it's like, depending on what your setup is, and even if you use a 4K external monitor and blah, blah, blah. So you got to look at not just the device, but all the things that it takes to run the device and the setup. And cables are also heavy. Get these 50-foot, HDMI cables. They're heavy as hell.
Yes.
They're heavy as hell.
True story. Gang, this was dope. This was another good show. I mean, I'm gonna just say it was fan-freaking-tastic. Lot of new stuff happening, gang. Okay, so just know that this particular time period was extremely gear heavy because all the manufacturers are doing their spring rollouts. There'll be another couple of gear drops coming probably the beginning of June. It's just how they do these things in cycles. So we'll probably have a couple more gear heavy shows, but we're just going to bring you the news and stuff that's available, what's happening in the live streaming community or the content creation community, and what it means to you. That's our primary focus of this show. And yeah, it's going to be good. Now we know all of the Apple stuff basically goes on sale on the 30th, and in theory, we'll have stuff to talk about once they come into play. Because even if you order on the 30th, you're not even going to see it till the end of May. So that's coming. Mm-hmm. And Apple said they got 2 more keynotes this year. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be
what you
crazy.
got? What else you got?
I'm saying, like, what are they bringing to the table? I think that the pro devices are coming back. But yes, I appreciate you guys for coming and kicking with us. Thank you, Anita. I appreciate that. You will see us again soon. I know I have a stream on Saturday. Ms. D, what are you getting into this week?
I am looking to get some more content out for the channel. So again, like I talked about the A10 Mini. Yeah, some more. It's like I just revved up on like content in a very extreme way.
This lady produces like nobody's business. This is a master class in content creation. She produces so fast, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, so I'm putting a heavy emphasis on TikTok right now. So, that, and then just like, I'm trying to get to, not even trying to, I'm in the process of scheduling out, like I said, about 3 to 4 videos per week. We may do a stream tomorrow, but it's just like, I just postponed the Friday live noon stream so that it's like, if I do a stream, you'll see it get scheduled out, but just so I have some breathing space and content with producing more. So it's just like, if we do it, we may do it, but you got to watch. It's just like for right now, while I'm working through some other stuff and then some more traveling and some other amazing things coming down the pipeline to be announced. So just more content on the channel for sure.
And Mr. David, what about you? I know you're killing it over there with your digital Buddha wordcast. I can't. What the heck is a wordcast?
Well, I don't know about killing it. I'm growing. I'm finding my path. I've got the next 2 months scheduled out. Today I have a stream in about an hour, 2 o'clock. We're going to talk about how to succeed online, the luck versus hard work debate. Where does that come in? And
can I go ahead and solve that problem for you already?
No. You got to tune in for the stream. And over the next 6 weeks, I'm going to be focused on how to get yourself online with a website, a WordPress website, fast. Monday will be, plain website, brochure. Thursday will be e-commerce. Next week will be learning management system if you do courses or memberships. And I'm going to walk you through and show you how to set those things up really, really quick. So that's kind of my focus over there. Plus, I'm working on the Letsget.live website. We've got obviously the overlays launching. I'm really excited about the courses that we're going to have for Ecamm Live training coming out in the summer as well. So you heard it here first, sneak peek. Sorry, I dropped a little bit of information. Look for it this summer, but it's coming. Ecamm Live training.
We done told this guy how much times to stop giving away corporate secrets. Anyway, gang, tomorrow, before I forget, tomorrow Ms. D and I will be making cameos for the TubeBuddy International Creator Day. Tomorrow marks the 15th year anniversary since the first ever video was published on YouTube.
YouTube is a teenager.
Crazy. Yes, YouTube is a teenager. And what's other thing that's crazy is I've been making videos for YouTube since about the 3rd or 4th day. And I only figured out how to do it right in the last year and a half. Because I kept trying to do all the stuff that y'all ask us. Hey, can I make 2 channels about nothing and then flip-flop back and forth? No. Can I have 17 subject matter? No. Yeah, all those questions you guys asked, I did it, which is why I get so frustrated because y'all won't listen. Because I did it. I did it for 14 years, screwed it up. Now I got it on fire. I am officially today 1,100 exact folks away from 10,000.
Boom.
11.
And I am
20.
officially
He
20 or
counting.
so away from 300. So
Hey.
Oh, I thought you was going to give another long number. So, yes,
no.
we live for the day when I just get to put my plaque on the table and be like, what? So it's coming. Anyway, gang, thank you so much for checking out This Week in Live. This is so much fun. I absolutely love this. Is probably my favorite stream, and I will see you guys. Come see us tomorrow. And then next week
out,
we'll be back
everybody.
with more stuff. Aloha. Let me fire some little music right here.
hit it, kick it.
The breakup track.
Why she teasing my breakup track?
Y'all don't know when Doc was 10 years old, the girl that he loves told him she wasn't going to homecoming with him. Yeah,
So bittersweet.
Doc still got that little will you go out with me? Yes, no, maybe box. You still got that post-it note box.
What's left of me?